Hey everybody, what is going on? My name is Marv Gaming and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about mobile racing games. I know I usually talk about shooters and open world games, but personally I grew up playing a ton of racing games, and so they are kind of my favorite genre, and I grew up knowing and loving them. The Asphalt series, one of the best ones, Need for Speed especially, of course, and a few other indie games that I really loved and enjoyed. So today I'm going to talk about just mobile racing games in a whole, why they're kind of going down, which ones are the better ones, and if you guys didn't see my top 3 free-to-play racing games, go ahead and check that video out. They're okay games, but yeah, so I will be talking about Asphalt in the latter half of this video, just because I feel like Asphalt is kind of its own separate thing. It's an amazing game. But again, there are a lot of flaws that could be fixed, and they're taking a direction, again, like most games nowadays, that I don't really like. But again, I'll talk about that in the latter half of this video. Alright, so what's going on with mobile racing right now? What's happening? Why am I making a video? So most of you guys probably heard of the game CSR Racing. The concept is kind of cool, a drag racing game where you just get on for 30 seconds or so and drag race a cool car. But here's what I hate about these games. I made a video on Asphalt Street Storm, and before I really talked about the game, I just said, if you're not a casual, don't play this game. Because that's really what there is to it. If you're not a casual, don't play these types of games. I'm going to say that because if you're someone like me who really likes immersive gameplay, a nice experience, don't even come close to these. Don't even download it. Don't even look at it in the App Store. You'll want to rip your face off. Okay, these games are really, they're like a virus in the mobile gaming community. There are tons of these popping up, kind of like the Clash of Clans clones sort of thing. They're popping up everywhere. They're making tons of money. And they suck. They suck. And let me tell you why. First and foremost, energy system. Of course, any game with an energy system kind of sucks. Granted, there are a few that are better than others. Like Asphalt 8 only has an energy system for the events, which you don't play all the time. So I like that system personally. I think it's better than the other ones. But then you have games like CSR2, Asphalt Street Storm, which isn't as bad as I'd like to say for like the other ones like Racing Rivals and those types of games, where you have an energy system for playing like 10 to 30-second games. That is so limiting, and as a hardcore player, I understand this, but to a casual player, how do you not understand this? Don't you guys get mad at this? I mean, I know I do, and I know some other people do, but if you're just a person who likes playing games, and you decide to download this, drag racing game, and you see an energy system so limiting to a 10 to 30-second race, you don't care? I don't understand that type of mindset, and I'm going to talk about this again in another video, and I want to get to a point where I don't have to say, oh, it's just a mobile game, you can excuse this. I don't want to say that. I hate saying that. That is kind of my whole thing with mobile gaming. If someone's looking over and I'm playing Modern Combat 4, I want them to be amazed. But if someone's looking over at me and I'm playing, I don't know, Racing Rivals or CSR or something like that, and they're saying, wow, that's cool, but why'd you quit the app? Well, I had an energy system, but, it's a mobile game, so whatever. I don't want to say that. If someone looks over and say, hey, those graphics suck, I don't want to say, well, it's because it's a mobile game, and what can I do about it? I don't want to say that, because in previous games, like Modern Combat 4, like the old Asphalt games, I never had to say that. I could always say, or I wouldn't have to say anything, because they would always, be amazed at what I was playing. And there's a giant spider on the wall. Oh my god. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to continue talking. But, so yeah, I don't want to say that. That's kind of the whole thing behind this whole mobile thing that I want to talk about. But anyway, so yeah, energy system sucks. We have to get rid of it, okay? In this, not necessarily just the drag racing, but can we stop with the energy system, especially in racing games? Because with racing games, the rounds themselves usually tend to be around 2 minutes, and like I said with drag racing, 10 to 30 seconds. That's kind of ridiculous for an energy system that limiting 10 to 30 seconds and you can only play like 5 games at a time before you have to wait, I think that's a bit overboard. But the next thing I want to talk about is the gameplay itself of these clones, these drag racing sort of games, where it's not about skill. Like, honestly, if you say that you have a good reaction time and that's why you're so good, you're lying to yourself. It's because you have a better car than the other people. It doesn't matter about reaction time. I mean, if the other person sucks, yeah, you might win. But if you guys have a relatively similar car, then yeah, maybe it goes down to reaction time. But if one guy has a Mustang and the other guy has a Prius, who do you think is gonna win? Now that's kind of obvious. But if someone has a Ferrari, and if someone else has like a Lamborghini, right? It doesn't matter. Both cars are amazing, but it's whoever has the higher number in the score. It doesn't matter about looks. It doesn't matter about how they perform. It's that number, that performance rating. That's what dictates all races, in my opinion. I've never seen a race that I've won that I've had like a lower, a lower rating number, where I've outperformed another person based off of reaction time and skill. I mean, what I'm trying to say here is that there's no skill in these games. All right, there's no skill. Please stop playing these. Like, that's another thing. These numbers, these performance ratings, they're not necessarily in racing games. They're in all games now. Gangster has it. I think Modern Combat 5. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But I know Asphalt has it. So what I'm trying to say is, no statistic other than that actually affects how you're gonna play. That's the only thing that dictates if you win or lose, is that number. Whether it be 800 or 1 million, that number compared to your rival's number matters. That's the only thing. It doesn't matter your acceleration, because you could have terrible acceleration, but if your number is still higher than the other guy's overall total performance number, whatever, you'll win, okay? It doesn't matter if the track is like super aggressive on bad handling cars. If you still have a higher number, you're gonna win, no matter what. This needs to go, because it encourages just straight up buying your way to the top. And that is one of the worst parts about mobile gaming, and that's just buying your way to the top. Another thing I want to touch on is just the simple fact that it's less about gameplay now, and it's more about just creating a system, sticking to that system, and kind of adapting around that system, rather than trying to change and modify the system per situation. So what I mean by this is the Asphalt series is a perfect example of this, where they have the system of barrel rolls and flat spins. But whenever they implement it into a track, they design the track and then they'll put the ramps there. But the problem is, and it could also be the problem of the physics engine, which is, another problem, is, and I've made a video about this and I put it on the Asphalt forums and I didn't get any official response whatsoever. I think the only thing I got was from like 3 people saying, oh, you went off it wrong, when I clearly went off it totally straight and fine. But so I go off a flat spin ramp and and the car does a barrel roll. And I don't know if this is necessarily related to it is bad design, but it's also, what I'm trying to say here is that developers are not caring about their tracks or the way the user interacts with their car or whatever. I think Asphalt has one of the most immersive racing experiences, because it really it gives you the most control over your car. And this is excluding games like AG Drive and Horizon Chase, which are absolutely fantastic games. And if you don't know what those games are, please look them up on the App Store. I don't care if they're paid or not, you have to try these out. They are amazing games. But anyway, I digress. Games like these, and there's so many glitches in Asphalt. And I've seen a lot of people posting online, Asphalt funny moments. But they'll be driving down the road and the car will just crash. They won't hit anything and they'll just crash. What? That's not a funny moment. That's something the developers should seriously take into consideration, that whenever someone's driving, their car just crashes. And this is mostly in games like Asphalt, where you have a bit more control over your car. Where they don't care. They don't care. They just design something. They stick to their concept and they put it out. They don't modify it to help the gamer at all. like the tracks in Asphalt 8, the newer ones are the best example of this. In Sector 8, you like flip over at one of the moments. 50-50 chance you're gonna crash, and you have to go that way in order to get a better time. But you're gonna crash because it's not your fault if the car flips over a wrong way. You have no control over that. And I think that's what I'm trying to say here as well, is the games that you have no control over and you feel so futile because there's nothing that you could do to prevent that. If you go over a bump or something and your car just completely crashes and explodes and like you have no control over it, that's what these developers are kind of putting in place here. They're saying you have your total control over your car, yet in these certain areas you have to do something so specific or you crash or you don't have any control over your car. And the best example of this is Asphalt, where you're gonna drive and you're trying to do a corner and your car just kind of drifts into a wall even though you were driving straight. Like, really? Did you not consider maybe that might be a possibility when designing this engine? Like, did you not maybe bug or proof, did you not play test your game at all? Like when I crash into a wall, and instead of me grinding against the wall, it explodes my car. Like, this is not pro gamer. This is not pro consumer at all. This is like, it's not the, oh, well, you have to be perfect. Like, no, we need to stop making these compromises. We have to stop telling ourselves that it's not, that it's our fault. It's not. It really isn't. And this goes for all mobile gaming as well. But racing games in particular, I think, are the biggest crimes, the biggest the biggest offenders, where you have no control over what you do, yet you're punished. You're totally punished. Like for example, the drag racing games. If you don't have a better car, if you don't pay for a better car, you cannot advance in the game. There's no way, no matter how much skill you have, you cannot move forward. You can't. And that's what sucks. So anyway, now on to the second half of this video, which is about Asphalt. I grew up with Asphalt. I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous video, but my first game actually was Asphalt Urban GT2 on the Nintendo DS. I think like 10 years ago or something crazy like that. It was a long time ago. I played pretty much every single Asphalt up until then, except for Asphalt Injection, because I don't have a PSP, unfortunately. But yeah, I've played pretty much every Asphalt there is, and I've seen the game evolve. And this could be totally for a separate video, which I might make. I'll probably cut this short because I know I mentioned the whole physics issue just now. So I'll probably talk about Asphalt in a whole separate video. So yeah, keep in mind this is going to be a bit short, but I think Asphalt is one of those games where it's like they know that you have the most control in that game, yet they still have a way to make you mad over something that's totally futile. Like in Asphalt 7, they introduced the heat system, which was the car ranking system. Now, it was okay because really all it did was it separated the fast cars from the really stupidly slow cars. You had 7 heats, which is kind of like the ABCDE sort of system they have in Asphalt 8. I don't know if it's that or whatever. I'll have to check. Or I know, but whatever. So, yes, you had the division of classes. But in multiplayer, that didn't mean much because it was still all about skill. It was who can drive around the track the most, or not the most, the best, who can really take the shortcuts the best. And this spider thing is like, it's like a daddy long legs, and I'm pretty scared right now. I'm not gonna lie. It's on my computer. That's dead. It is really big. Oh, Jesus. What is that thing? Hold on, I'm stopping. Okay, I'm back. That was a weird transition. It's still in my room. I have no idea where it is. I'm pretty scared, not gonna lie. It's like the size of my thumb. I have no idea where it is. It could be under my bed. It could be behind me. I don't know. But anyway, so back to Asphalt. I grew up with this franchise. I've loved it. And again, they made that transition to the class ranks, which really wasn't that bad. Like, it kind of, when you go into multiplayer, it means you were never like super underpowered if you weren't that far into the game yet. So that was a good thing overall for Asphalt. But then Asphalt 8 came around, where it had the classes, but it also had the ranks, the class ranks, which totally, completely made the class system useless. Like, Class A cars now are better than like half the Class S cars. It's stupid. and now everything you go off is the number. No matter how many times you drift a corner perfectly, if the person has a better car statistically than you with the power number or whatever they call it, you're gonna lose. I don't care how well you know the track, if you know it like the back of your hand, you're gonna lose. You can't win. You really can't. And that's what sucks. Now, everyone in Asphalt 6 and 5, when they play when you play multiplayer, everyone was on a level playing field. Nobody had an advantage over each other unless they had better skill than one another. Which is the point I'm trying to make here. And that is that skill is totally gone with most of these games, including Asphalt. And I think I'll make a separate video on Asphalt just because it's so near and dear to my heart, because I really grew up with it. But yeah, this was my rant on mobile gaming, racing games. I hate them. There are a few exceptions, which I'm going to touch on actually. Things like AG Drive, Horizon Chase, those are the games that fill the void right now. AG Drive is an amazing game. Most Apple stores have it. Go in and play it. It's really fun. It's like F-Zero and Wipeout, if you know what those games are. It's really skill based. It really is, because there are certain drift mechanics that a new user would have no idea how to control, yet a new user can still pick up this game and play like it's nothing. So I really am enjoying the game. Unfortunately, there's not too much content into it. I beat it already. We're waiting on some new updates for that game. Horizon Chase is another example of a really nice game. I mentioned that in my top 3 free-to-play games. Now, it is free-to-play, but it's like a trial sort of version where you pay $3 and you unlock the rest. It's a ton of content. I haven't gotten through 1/8 of the game yet. I still have a ton of ways to go. If you've played those really old racing games where they're 2D but not 2D, like they actually are 2D but they are made to look like 3D. That's the type of game this is, but the graphics are really nice, the low poly graphics. It's really nice. The soundtrack is amazing. It's written by the same guy who made those old soundtracks to those old games. So yeah, it's an awesome game. Even if you don't want to pay for the extra content, still downloading it, I should say, give it a try. It's really fun. It's very challenging. It's a very skill-based game, and that's what I really like about it. But yeah, this is a pretty long video. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here, guys. Point is, we need to start making a change. We have to stop compromising. We have to stop saying, oh, it's just a mobile game, or oh, the developers did it because they had to. No, they don't have to do this. They don't have to make you pay for something they did wrong. And it's not just Gameloft. It's not just Glue Games. It's not just these specific developers. It's the whole mobile gaming community. We are turning against each other. We're fighting against each other. We're fighting against the developers. They're fighting against us. We have to stop and reshape what we know about the mobile gaming community and stop making compromises. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please tell me all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you like racing games? You hate them? What do you like about them? What do you want to see improved? What do you want for Asphalt 9? Do you want it to stay the same system as Asphalt 8 with the physics engine, or do you want them to go back to the Asphalt 6 system? I love that, personally. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See ya.